Howdy folks, this is John. Oh, you know you want to learn how to grow carrots like that, or parsnips like these. You just know you want to go to a great big giant bucket full of carrots, kind of rummage around and thin them out a bit, pop one out here and there, and another one maybe. In fact, I highly recommend you go ahead and follow this here channel and watch this video all the way through. And I recommend also you go ahead and pot up a new batch of carrots about once a month maybe. All the way from when it kind of warms up in the springtime until about midsummer, a little into late summer. Those are the ones that you make up a bunch at once and just keep them for the whole winter. So you can just go through a winter and pop some out anytime you need them. You can reuse the potting mix too. I had some lettuces growing in these through a winter and I popped them out, put in some peat moss and some rice hulls to act as vermiculite, and stirred it all up. I used my hands. You could use a shovel. In fact, having a wheelbarrow to dump it all into and mixing it there is really a smart thing. But I kind of like to get my hands right into it sometimes. In fact, for growing in pots, you really need to use a super great soil, and that naturally leads to having a soil that carrots are really going to love. You don't need a lot of nutrients, especially nitrogen, for carrots. You don't want to over nitrify them. So I use this Mr. B's Green Trees. It's good organic. It's got a nice powder that you just spread on. It's got a lot of the stuff that I go and buy in 5-pound batches. Anytime I make a big batch of what they call a soilless mix. In this case, you don't need to use stuff like that for your garden soils. This is for potted mixes because they're just kind of these inert ingredients like peat moss. And yeah, you put some compost in there, but it's peat moss and vermiculite really. So you need to have good mineralization. And that's what a mix like this is good for. And every time you put a new batch of plants through a soilless mix like this, you ought to add another handful of this. And it's got enough nitrogen in it to give the plants a good start for carrots, but it's got all of the phosphorus and potassium that will build up in that soilless mix. And here we see the type of things that I put in when I do a whole batch of them. But with this little bucket, you don't have to worry about digging out a tablespoon of this and a tablespoon of that. I decided to go ahead and try these carrots on a bit of paper napkin, paper hand towel, left it in the freezer for a day. Put it on top of that soil, pat it down real nicely. It's good to water it well beforehand. And then I mulched it with more rice hulls. That way they could get through there. I recommend you put a big piece of plywood over it or something. Hold the light off there for about a week or so. Now here's the parsnips. They're pelleted seed, so that makes them easy to put in. You can get real nice, beautiful, perfect spacing with them. Now I pre-sprouted these also. I just left them in the wet paper towel behind the computer where they stay warm. So folks, start a new batch every month or so. In the last couple weeks, take a variety, especially known for winter storage. And then when winter comes, you just dump a bunch of mulch over it. And anytime you need carrots, you can go out and grab some. Thank you much, and have yourself a good day. See you around now. Bye.